Welcome to Going Pro, a video tutorial on the GoPro HD camera. I'm just here to run you through a few basic functions of the GoPro HD. The actual camera is on another level. This little beast can take HD video with variable frame rates, resolutions, and is so durable that you can mount it, fling it, and slam it basically any way you can imagine, which opens up some awesome opportunities to get footage from angles never seen before. So let's get started with the basics. So this is the GoPro. Got a button at the top, button at the front. This is a little red light. Memory card goes in there. USB cable goes in there, and it's also got a couple of AV in and out. These are the memory cards. It's got a 32 gig. Flip it to the side. You've got a big memory card slot. Push it in. And it clicks in like that. Just on that note, when transferring it back to the computer, you can either plug a mini USB into there and then a USB straight into the computer, or you can use a USB card reader, which are pretty cheap, and it's pretty handy because then you don't have to mess around with cables and stuff. You have this set up on your computer and you're good to go. And slot that in like that. To turn it on, you hold the front button down and I'll do that. So you've got a bunch of different menus up the top here. So as these top images changes, that's a different type of camera setting. This little camera flashing in the top left hand corner means it is the interval record. So interval record is when you want to take a photo every certain amount of time. So a photo every 2 seconds, 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 30 seconds, and a minute. They are the options you have in the settings. So it's really awesome for time lapses, because if you mount this somewhere, you just leave it and it'll take a photo every 5 or 10 seconds. And then within a space of a day, when you're shooting, just say the sun setting over the skyline, you'll end up with hundreds of photos. So you throw that into your timeline, have every photo one frame, render it out, and you've got an awesome time lapse. Huge resolution as well. Not necessarily HD resolution, but it's bigger than HD because it's a photo, so the resolution is bigger than 1920 by 1080. So if I hit the normal record button up the top like it would with the normal camera, that will start the interval record. And every 10 seconds, it'll take a snapshot. You'll see that little red light flash every time it takes a snapshot. So when you've got your camera mounted up there, you just keep an eye out for the red flash. And if you see that red flash once, you see it again, you see it again. I usually wait 3 or 4 times and watch it, make sure it starts the interval recording properly, then you know you're good. And every time you want to check on it, you just go back to the location and you can see your little camera up there. Because it's a little LED, it's kind of easy to see, so it's pretty handy. You just make sure that keeps flashing and you know you're getting your snapshots. You just hit the normal record button at the top to stop recording, just like you did to start recording, and that'll stop and that red light will stop flashing. Now if we move over to the next menu, now when that little camera at the front, the top left, does not flash, that means you're in photo mode. So every time you press that, it'll just take one snapshot. And again, the red flash means it's taking a snapshot. When you see the little video camera up the top, in the top column, that means you're on video mode. So again, you hit the top button to record, and that'll just start recording. So the red flash means it's recording. As long as you see that red light flashing, you know you're good. The little clock type symbol up the top right is the mode of timer record. So every time you hit this, it's like if you want to take a photo of you with the group, you can hit this and it waits a certain amount of time and then it takes a photo. So it's awesome for stuff like, if you have a big group and everyone wants to get in the photo, hit that, waits a certain amount of time, and boom, it's taken a photo. So the red light, again, is giving you an indication on when the photo is being taken. And every time this number changes, it changed from 11 to 12 just then, means a photo's been taken. So we've taken 12 photos in this tutorial so far. It's a fisheye lens, and that gets a massive wide angle distortion. So it's real good for sports, action sports, and obviously you can't see what you're filming because there's no LCD on the back. But the fisheye lens pretty much gets everything that you point to. You look at that fisheye lens, it's so wide, you pretty much get everything that you want in the shot. If you keep pressing the front button to toggle through modes, you'll eventually get to the settings menu, which says set. Go into that by pressing the record button, and again to toggle through, keep pressing the front button. Now R2 is where you can change your modes of video, whether it be 720p, different frame rates, different resolutions. And if you can't remember what R2, and I think there's 5 R's, if you can't remember what each one stands for, on the back you got a little guide here. So R1 is WVGA, 60 frames a second. R2 720p at 30 frames a second. R3 720p at 60 frames a second. R4 is 960p at 30 frames a second, and R5 is 1080p at 30 frames per second. So it's really handy because you're just looking at R2. So right now it's shooting 720p at 30 frames a second. If I wanted, for example, 1080p at 30 frames a second, I'd look here, and that's R5. So I'd flip it over, press the record button to toggle, and there it is, R5, P10. That refers to the interval recording, so it takes a photo every 10 seconds. If I want to change that, it's the same deal. You just press the record button to toggle through, and that's 30 seconds. So a photo every 30 seconds, photo every 60 seconds, photo every 2 seconds. So it's pretty much 2, 5, 10, 30, and 60 seconds. If whatever's happening in your shot is only going to last for, let's say half an hour, and you want to do a time lapse of it, it's better to go lower. So you want to go 2 seconds or 5 seconds, because you're going to end up with more frames. But if it's going longer, like a whole day, you probably want to do, 30 seconds or up to a minute, because that's what's going to give you the best time lapse. As in, you're not going to end up with millions and millions of frames, because you're getting less images through that day, because you're only getting one every 60 seconds. If you got one every 2 seconds, think about that for a whole day, you're going to have so many pictures, and you're just going to end up speeding it up anyway, and you're just going to end up getting rid of those frames anyway because you're speeding it up. So there's no point really. It's pretty important to know what interval you want to take those snaps, because it'll save you rendering time, disk space on your little memory card on the GoPro as well, and that's all pretty important. I'm not going to go through every setting because a lot of them you don't use, but those are the 2 main ones that we always use. I mean, if you come into some issues, the manual is always really handy and gives you a really easy list of all these different settings. But a lot of them, like date, NTSC, and PAL, those kind of ones, you change it and you leave it. Pretty much leave it forever. Now, when you're setting up time lapses, you want to have your cable plugged in and then start the time lapse. You definitely want your cable plugged in and then start the time lapse, because if you start the time lapse then plug the cable in after you've already started the interval recording of the time lapse, it's going to reset when you plug it in and it stops recording. So you want to power it up and then start the time lapse. A couple of times we've plugged it in while it was already doing the time lapse, and it was really awkward because we'd already have our camera mounted there, and then we'd have to go through the settings again and make sure it's all good and then start recording, and then you want to plug it in first and then do all that and then mount it. Now when you're mounting it, use one of these things. It's a waterproof housing, but this one isn't quite waterproof because we've had to drill a hole in the side. You can get cases that have a hole inside. The reason we put the hole in the side, you still need to plug your power in. And the only way to mount GoPros is using this super durable mount And there's so many mounts that you can buy. You can mix and match. It comes with a few which are really handy, and then you can mix and match and buy different ones. You got this which you can gaffer down. You got these which come with double-sided sticky on the back. You can just rip that off and then mount that somewhere. I mounted it to my helmet at home, so I've always got the mount there, and all I need to do is just go clip that on if I want to go for a ride and do a time lapse while riding, or take video while riding, doing something crazy. You've got this, which is a massive suction cap, which also links in, and you can change the position and do all types of crazy stuff. Sometimes I mount this to the outside of my car. I did a time lapse going up to the snow with one of these hooked on the side. You can get surfboard mounts. You can get creative, like I've even made my own mount with a clamp. So I've got a clamp. I've pretty much put one of these on the side, so I can clamp it to whatever's really quick and easy. You can get helmet straps, wrist straps, you can get body straps, you can get so much stuff. All you gotta do is look on GoPro website and there's crazy, crazy things. And even people just make stuff at home and it turns out to be awesome. It's good for something small, out of the way, and non-intrusive. And all your files are MP4 video files or JPEG stills. Import straight into Premiere and it's fine. I think I used to have some issues with CS3 and 4, but CS5 is so good. It just works like a charm. And then the stuff that's shot 60p, it's super slow-mo, super smooth. Interpret the footage, and you're sweet. So when it is time to import your footage, same thing as you used to power it up. You plug in your mini USB into there, and you plug the other USB end straight into the computer. And that won't automatically detect it on the computer, that'll just start charging it. Wherever you plug the USB stick in, it'll start charging. So you need to actually turn it on. The red light means it's charging. Once you turn it on with the front button, it actually says USB. So then you know that it is connected to the computer. As soon as that gets turned on, it recognizes it's USB and it'll pop up like a normal USB stick or external hard drive would. Right here. Get into it and you got your files just like a normal USB stick, all here. And they're the ones. And there's the video. And that's pretty much it. So you'll end up with, if you're doing a time lapse, you end up with hundreds of these stills. Doing videos, the MP4s, pictures of JPEGs, time lapse at JPEGs as well. You just pretty much drag straight into Premiere your files. They import, and there they are. Just throw them on the timeline, and if every still is 1 frame long, 25 frames a second, if you watch here, it should play out really fast, like that. So imagine you have a whole day's worth of them. It'll just be time lapse.
I've been Andrew Dawn behind the camera. It's been a GoPro tutorial. Big thing, bloody durable. Oh,